My grandmother was sitting outside my apartment in the rain with two suitcases beside her. A note was taped to the handle of the blue one. "She's your problem now. Don't call us again." That was all my uncle left behind. No apology. No explanation. Just 12 cold words for the woman who had raised him. "My name is Mara Harper. I was 34 years old, an Army logistics officer stationed at Fort Carson, living in a one-bedroom apartment in Colorado Springs with student loans, a second-hand couch, and barely enough money to last until payday. My Uncle Grant lived in a 6-bedroom house with 2 luxury SUVs and a son named Cole, who posted vacation photos every month. Yet somehow, my 82-year-old grandmother, Vivian Harper, had become my problem. She sat in her wheelchair under the weak porch light, her blue coat buttoned wrong, one glove missing, rain soaking into her sleeves. My family said the stroke had stolen her voice. They said she could barely hear. They said she did not understand much anymore. They said those things while standing right beside her, as if she were furniture. But when I knelt in front of her and took her cold hand, I noticed something. Her eyes were not empty. They were watching me. Carefully, patiently, like she had been waiting for the right person to finally open the door. "It's okay, Grandma," I whispered. "You're staying with me?" Her fingers tightened around mine once, not weakly, clearly, like a signal. The first few days were hard. My apartment was too small for her wheelchair. I slept on the couch and gave her my bedroom. I called doctors, pharmacies, and social services. Every record I requested led back to Grant. He controlled her medical access. He controlled her bank accounts. He controlled the family trust my grandfather Elias had created before he died. And he controlled the story. According to Grant, Grandma was confused, difficult, and expensive. According to Cole, I was making drama. But on the 4th morning, Grandma Vivian pointed at the blue suitcase. I brought it to her. Her hands trembled too much to open it, so I unzipped it for her. Inside were folded clothes, medicine bottles, an old hairbrush, and a framed photo of my grandfather standing in front of his first grocery store. Grandma looked at the photo, then turned it over. On the back, in my grandfather's handwriting, were 5 words. "Never let Grant know." My stomach tightened. "Know what?" I whispered. Grandma did not speak. She only tapped the bottom of the suitcase. I took everything out and ran my fingers along the lining. There was a seam where there should not have been one. A false bottom. When I lifted it, I found folders wrapped in plastic. Bank statements, property deeds, investment records, copies of checks, letters, and on top, an envelope with my name. Mara. My hands shook as I opened it. The letter was written in my grandmother's handwriting. "If you are reading this, Grant has finally done what I knew he would do. Do not believe him. I hear more than he thinks. I understand more than he hopes. And I have been watching." I looked up at Grandma. Tears were sliding down her face, but she was not afraid. She looked relieved. For years, everyone thought her silence meant helplessness. But her silence had been a hiding place. The documents told the truth. After my grandfather died, Grant began moving money out of the family trust. At first, small amounts, then larger transfers, then fake consulting fees, shell companies connected to coal, forged signatures, property papers my grandmother had never agreed to sign. More than $3 million had disappeared over 6 years. Grant thought his mother was too disabled to notice. He thought silence meant she was gone, but she had saved everything. At the end of the letter, Grandma wrote one line that I will never forget. When people believe you are powerless, they stop hiding who they really are. That afternoon, I called Michael Reyes, my grandfather's old attorney. When I told him what I had found, he went quiet. Then he said, "Mara, do not let Grant inside your apartment." The next evening, Grant came pounding on my door. I opened it with the chain still locked. He stood there in a cashmere coat holding a folder. "Move the chain," he said. "No." His face hardened. "Don't act like a soldier with me." "I am a soldier. She's my mother." "Then you should not have left her outside in the rain." Behind me, Grandma sat by the window with a blanket over her knees. Grant leaned past me. "Mom, tell her you wanted to come here." Grandma stayed silent. That was the silence he trusted. That was the silence he had used for years. He lifted the folder. "I need her to sign some medical papers." "Leave them." "No, she signs now." "Not without her attorney." For 1 second, fear crossed his face. Then anger replaced it. "You have no idea what you're interfering with." I looked at him calmly. "Then explain it." He stepped closer. "I pay for the lawyers. I pay for the doctors. I pay for everything." "No," I said. "Grandma's trust pays for everything." The hallway went silent. Grant looked at me differently then. Like he finally realized I was not as easy to scare as he thought. "Stay out of grown people's business," he said. I looked at the folder in his hand. "I coordinate supply routes through combat zones. Your paperwork does not frighten me." Then I closed the door. Behind me, Grandma lifted one trembling hand to her mouth. For a moment, I thought she was crying. Then I realized she was smiling. The court hearing came 3 weeks later. Michael filed the emergency petition under Vivian Harper's name, not mine. That mattered. Grant expected to fight me, the angry niece. He did not expect to face his own mother. The courtroom was full because Grant wanted witnesses. He walked in with Cole, 2 attorneys, and the same proud expression he always wore when he thought money would protect him. His lawyer described Grandma as confused, fragile, and easily manipulated by me. He said I had taken control of her. He said Grant had only acted out of love. I sat beside my grandmother and felt anger rise in my throat. But I stayed still. The army had taught me that. "Do not fire before the target appears." Then Michael stood and said, "Your Honor, Mrs. Harper would like to testify." Grant laughed. Out loud. "She can't testify," he said. "She can't even speak." The judge looked at my grandmother gently. "Mrs. Harper, do you understand what is being asked?" For one long breath, no one moved. Then Grandma Vivian placed both hands on the arms of her wheelchair and pushed herself upright. Her voice came out rough, rusty, but clear. "Yes, Your Honor." The courtroom froze. Grant's face collapsed. Cole went pale. My hand flew to my mouth. Grandma turned toward her son, and for the first time in years, she let him hear the voice he had buried too early. I have listened to Grant lie for 6 years. That sentence broke him. She testified slowly, but every word landed like a hammer. She described the first missing transfer after Elias died. She described Grant bringing papers to her room and guiding her hand across signature lines. She described Cole bragging about shell companies. She described the threats, the forged documents, the fake invoices. Then Michael opened the blue suitcase. Folder by folder, the truth came out. The judge removed his glasses twice. Grant's attorney stopped objecting. When Michael played a recording from Grandma's old phone, Grant's voice filled the room. Just press her hand where the line is. She doesn't know what she's signing anymore. I wanted to scream, but Grandma did not scream. She looked at the judge and said, "He knew how to lie. He knew how to steal. I wanted to know how far he would go." That was the moment everything changed. The judge froze Grant's access to the trust. He ordered a forensic accounting. He blocked the property transfer. He referred Cole's companies for fraud investigation. Grant stood up shouting that we had destroyed the family. Grandma looked at him with a calm I will remember for the rest of my life. "No," she said. "You sold it. Mara stayed." After court, reporters waited outside, but Grandma did not care about cameras. She touched my wrist and whispered, "I was afraid." Those 3 words broke my heart. I knelt beside her. "I know." She looked toward the courthouse doors where Grant had disappeared. Then she said, "But not anymore." 2 months later, Grandma moved into a small house 3 blocks from my apartment. It had yellow curtains, a ramp by the front door, and a little garden where she planted rosemary because my grandfather had loved the smell. Not all the money came back right away. Cases like that take time. But enough was frozen, enough was protected, and enough truth became public that Grant could no longer pretend he was a devoted son. His friends stopped inviting him to dinner. Cole's investors disappeared. Their big house went up for sale before Christmas. People asked if I felt satisfied. I did not know how to answer. Justice did not give back the years Grandma spent pretending not to hear her own son call her useless. It did not erase the nights she watched him steal from her. It did not give me back the family I wanted to believe in. But it gave her freedom. It gave her voice back. And sometimes, after betrayal, that is enough to begin again. Every Sunday, I visited her after duty. We drank tea in her garden while she slowly rebuilt her words. One afternoon, she looked at me and said, "You were the only one who opened the door?" I shook my head. "You were the one who left the evidence." She smiled. "Because I knew you would look." That is what family is. Not the people who say blood while leaving you outside in the cold. Not the people who empty your accounts and call it love. Family is the person who reads the note, opens the door, and says, "You're staying with me." My grandmother was never powerless. She was patient. She was watching. And when the time came, she did not need revenge. She had the truth. And the truth, spoken clearly after years of silence, was louder than any scream.